do a statement, opening statement about Geoff, and then we'll get to your questions.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Yeah, very excited to announce Geoff's promotion. A guy that I have a tremendous amount of confidence in. I'm a big believer in. He's been an integral part of my coaching life for many, many years. And obviously, Coach Geoff as a player, have known his family for a long, long time. I'd be very remiss if I did not talk about Geoff's loyalty, his commitment to Illinois basketball, his dedication to this program, to helping us build it. He did it in maybe more of a behind the scenes way than most of you saw, but was very, very prominent within the inner workings of our program, and very deserving of the opportunity to get back on the road. He'd really been off the road due to COVID, really a short period of time, something which I did before. And I don't worry about that because I know how hard he works. I know his connections throughout the world, and great relationships guy, a guy that all of our players feel very, very strongly about, and will fit in quite nicely. And he's very deserving. He's tremendous at his job because he's passionate and loyal. And excited to have him joining the Illinois basketball family. He's been a big part of our success the last 4 years.
Brad, how important is it to promote a guy who's done the grunt work at lower positions, lower levels in the game, versus like hiring from outside?
Rob, I'm all about loyalty. And if you guys don't know that, you don't know what our program stands for. And I think that's one of the things that I admire the most about Geoff. You got to have people that believe in what you do, that believe in what we're doing, that believe in what this program stands for, and nobody does that better than Geoff. And he's been a recruiter, I don't know, close to 20 years, and a coach for 20 years. And to find somebody that came in and wanted to be an assistant to the head coach because he wanted to be a part of a program and wanted to be part of something that I believed in. Man, I was fortunate to get a guy like that. And so to promote him is very easy. And it's to me, it's the right thing to do. And I know how good he is, and I know how good he'll be for our program.
When you took the special assistant job, was there an understanding that if something opened up, he would be at the top of the list?
No, we never had those per se topics. I think it's just known. Geoff knows how I am, and Geoff knows that what loyalty and family means to me. And then I know how good he is. So it just is one of those situations that it was perfect. It was the right time. Our program's in a much different place now than it was when we took over, and it just was not just the right thing to do. It was something that's going to benefit our program as we move forward.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad. You spent that first year at Kansas State with Hugs in the ops role. How much did maybe stepping away from an on-court assistant recruiting role change your outlook or mindset when you got back to that?
Well, it's fabulous for me. You never lose basketball is networking, and it's connections and it's relationships. In my situation, I developed unbelievable connections in a different role. I never lost the ones I had. When I went back on the road, the position, the place I was further enhanced by being able to do that, to be quite honest. And my connections, dealing with league office, dealing with scheduling, dealing with all the administrative side of things were fabulous for me. They've paid off tenfold for me. And I think a lot of those same things have happened with Geoff. He's got a very definitive look at what it looks like to be a head coach. He's had every scout like I've had, communication with assistant coaches, communication with staff and administrators has been an integral part of what he's done all along, while you keep your nose with assistant coaches into the recruiting game and what's going on, and visualizing scouting reports. And that's something Geoff's always been elite at, is the recruiting. He's a tremendous evaluator. And that's something that not everybody has. It's easy to look at an internet ranking and say, oh, he runs really high, jumps really fast, and he's and put a star by it. But to actually find guys that are really good players and fit, that's the art right there. And Geoff has that.
You mentioned, kind of his impact the last 4 years, in getting the program back to this level. It was more behind the scenes, but where was he maybe integral, in that progression?
Well, to have somebody who thinks like me and understands everything that I'm talking about, you're talking about a guy who did all of our advanced work in heading to a scout and game preparation and the early communication with assistant coaches. Hey, what are you thinking? What do you see? And what are teams doing? And then being able to relay those to me right after a game, and we get done playing Wisconsin and we've got, Iowa next, and he's already got the scout done and saying, here's where we're at. And to have somebody who thinks like you, that's such an important piece. He's very creative. He had a lot of creative ideas, both ends of the court. And, we valued those ideas a lot. And he's a great sounding board. He's a great listener, and that's paid off a lot for us, Scott.
Thanks, Brad.
Coach, I'm curious, this seems a little unprecedented, of losing all three assistants the same year. Now that that's all official, what are your thoughts on it? Have you gone through this? Does it feel like like you've just got a job and you're hiring a staff? What's the feeling of replacing your entire staff?
Yeah, it's not that at all. I think you start and you understand that guys leave for different reasons. I look at where they've gone. And every situation is a little bit unique. Some very personal, and two of those three decisions are extremely personal and have relationship value to them, and I respect that. It's in Stephen's case, you're going back to your alma mater. You're going back to a place that you've worked before. You're replacing a guy that just got the Arizona job. You're replacing. You're going with a guy that's a Hall of Famer. Orlando's history with Cal is so unique, and daughter went to school there, and there's so many situations, and to have it all happen in the same year means we won. Because if these guys were finishing, I look at it this way. I'm proud. I put a staff together that literally the top three programs in the country, arguably, they won our guys. And I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm gonna go do it again. Go put that same type of staff together. And I hope they don't leave until they become head coaches. But damn, I'm ecstatic for them. I'm ecstatic that we put a staff together everybody thinks is that damn good. And it's unique that it happened, but I'm pretty excited by the fact that I look at it, we're gonna go do that again. We're gonna put that kind of staff together again. I feel like we've got a couple of those pieces already in place, and our program is in a way different spot than when we got here. And I think our brand is extremely powerful. It's been exciting to see that grow. And we've got a new facility. We've spent $170 million on State Farm Center. Now with Ubben remodeling, with the success and winning. A lot different place, a lot different needs than when you take a job.
And you mentioned unique. It's it's fairly unique to lose the same guy to the same school twice. And you've replaced Coach Gentry with Coach Alexander twice. What does that speak to your guys out there, that guys you've worked with in the past that want to come back, and you could give him assistant role, and that's why you got him back from Gonzaga, and now you lose him to an assistant role at Gonzaga? Is that, you just see that how college basketball works these days?
I don't know if it means as much about how college basketball works, because I think we're in a unique spot that way, but I do think it's shows the family atmosphere that we talk about a lot. I think it shows the loyalty with which the way guys have been treated. I think it speaks volumes in this case that, you look and guys left, and yet you got DeMonte and Trent as seniors coming back, and our program has stayed intact and with players, and that's what family's about. And everybody makes decisions that for different reasons. And I'm not in it. People ask me all the time about, well, what should I do? What's your opinion? And my opinion doesn't matter. And everybody's got personal reasons to why. And I think it's, you treat people right, and you do right by them, and you create an atmosphere, you create success, and people have opportunities. And I've been very fortunate. Geoff, like I said, is being rewarded for being very, very loyal. And also I know how good he is. And so I'm ecstatic to have him.
Thanks.
Hey, Brad, if I have my timeline right, maybe did you know Neil before you knew Geoff, just from his time at Bushnell when you were at Western?
No.
You knew Geoff first?
Yeah, I knew Geoff as a player. Got to know Neil through that. I knew of Neil, but to say I knew him, I did not. I knew of Neil as a coach, but not personally. That all that relationship came through Geoff, and met their family that way.
Did you, when you first met Geoff, could you tell, like, okay, maybe he was a coach's kid who always wanted to get into this? I mean, do you remember the early impressions of him? Like, I don't know, it just seems like his family is really, a lot of them have followed the same path into coaching. I'm just curious if you got that impression of him early.
Yeah, there was no doubt what Geoff's career path was going to be. He's a gym rat. He's been in it his whole life. Obviously, success has followed his family, and I don't know. I think Neil's number 2 in the state in wins. It's a successful family. Obviously, Greg and his career, and now with his dad, and Geoff has wandered into the college ranks and been extremely successful, and so it's there was no doubt. Geoff was tough as hell. I blame his dad all the time. He's the worst shooting son of a coach that I've ever seen. And to have a brother who could shoot the lights out, and have Geoff, jump shot broke as hell, there's no excuse for that. But gosh darn, Geoff was a winner, and is so versatile and so tough, and I kid Geoff all the time about that. So, but no, it's a winning family, and it's a basketball family through and through.
If I could get one more, what are the intangibles of a guy who comes from that kind of coaching tree? I mean, there's certain characteristics that they have that you notice immediately.
Yeah, there's something about when you grow up in a gym, your IQ, your feel, you just get there's a my son Tyler has it. You just have an innate ability to understand the game, and then when you throw in the winning piece and the success that he was around all of his life, And, I mean, it doesn't matter who Neil has. Neil finds a way to win 20, 25 games every year and be competitive. And Geoffs, they're great communicators. They got great hearts as people. They're a great family. And all that plays into winning. And that's something that Geoff obviously has a lot of those qualities in Neil and Denise.
Thank you, Brad.
Brad, you've talked so much here about the strengths of Geoff. Is there one thing that stands out about him as an assistant compared to any of the others in a particular aspect that he's strong in?
No, I think he's a well-rounded coach. I think he's a great teacher. I think he's a guy that understands how to communicate. That's a big part of it today, is relationships and being able to communicate not only just with your players, but in the recruiting game. Geoff is a fantastic listener, and guys get drawn to that. And I saw it firsthand when he was with me back at Daytona Beach Junior College. He's a great recruiter. He got great players, and that transcends to Daytona Beach to Evansville, and you start looking at the guys they had there. And then you put the eye on that left patch, on that left chest, and he'll be able to do that here as well. So he's just a great communicator and a very genuine, nice person.
Are you able to say how close you are to announcing a third hire?
No.
Thanks.
Hey, Brad, hope you're well. Just wondering how much value is there in having somebody that's been on staff, given the turnover you're having? Like how much of that play into it, and how much does it add in value?
No, it's important. I don't want to say, I mean, I was going to bump Geoff regardless. And I don't want to diminish the fact that he's great at what he's going to do, but having a guy that understands and knows and been a part of what we've been building, that's huge. And you start keeping guys like Zach and and Geoff, and you've got Joey Biggs, you've got Adam Fletcher, you've got Stephen Fuqua in academics, you've got the guts. Stefan, excuse me. You've got the guts of your program, the guys that handle your guys every day in different manners. Those are still intact, and that's important. But from Geoff to be know terminology, know what our practices look like, know what our workouts look like, know what we've done in different ways, offensively and defensively, and how we've changed and how I think. That's a big piece. There's no doubt about it.
And I kind of have a random one here, but your roster, the front court, obviously Omar's here and Coleman Hawkins, but Kofi being up in the air. I haven't asked you about Georgie and his departure. How does that impact your front court, given the production he gave you and how you approach the transfer market?
Yeah, that's no different. Georgie's had a tremendous impact in our program, and obviously a guy that had such an outstanding freshman campaign, on a team that was growing, on a team, to be very honest, Jeremy wasn't very good for 3/4 of the season because of youth. And then he steps into a completely different role his last 2 years. And, I think Georgie's a terrific player and will be missed for a lot of reasons. His IQ, his experience, is a big loss. I understand why he's going professional, and yet he's had a tremendous impact on our program, and was a guy that I love coaching, and was a perfect fit to help us build and establish our culture.
So with his loss, just to follow up, like, are you more versatile, or are you looking at 4-5s? Like, what are you looking to add to that group?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a difficult spot. I think that Ben has not been healthy. I think the versatility of Coleman Hawkins, I'm expecting Coleman to have a fantastic year. Coleman's a guy that I see a huge jump coming, whether we play him at the 4, whether we play him some backup 5. We need Ben to be healthy. We need Brandon Lee to continue to grow. And then if the right piece is out there at either one of those spots, maybe we'll see. But we've got to continue to wait on Kofi as he goes through that process. And I would expect Kofi to have to make a decision here as he gets through workouts and so on and so forth. But again, it's to be determined, really, Jeremy.
Thank you, Red.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. I
Hi.
know you've recruited everywhere with your program here since you've been here. Maybe we get caught up too much in where those certain ties come from. Where do you expect Geoff to be able to tap into, and being an in-state guy, do you see there being a value with your program and having that connection?
Sure. I think, you look at Geoff's background here in the Midwest, you would think that that's the logical ties, the success that he's had throughout. The name recognition will be obvious. I love Geoff's. Geoff is very connected abroad in Europe, probably more so than any guy that we've had or that I've been associated with. And my Division I time as a head coach, he's wired in a lot of places over there. I'm excited about that. That fits our piece of the puzzle. It fits our university. We're the most diverse university in the Big Ten. So having guys from abroad will be something we'll continue to dive into. It's something I'm excited about. Geoff's been on the West Coast some. He's been very heavy into the Memphis area when he was at Evansville. So I think there's some areas that maybe we haven't been as strong in that he'll get us into some of those areas.
And kind of a bigger picture question on recruiting, how much emphasis are you placing on, now the dead period's about to end, being able to get guys on campus and facilitating that with Chester, with Geoff here in the coming months?
Yeah, and I mean, June obviously becomes an open time to start getting guys on campus. We do have guys we're bringing on campus unofficially. Again, I think that it's our guys don't report back till like the 12th, 13th. We want guys on campus, but we also want to put our best foot forward. And part of that is having our guys on campus and around and seeing what we do in workouts. So, some of those visits will happen a little later in June. Once we get going and guys around, we will have some guys early, but there's no doubt we want to get back to what we can do on the visit side. July is obviously going to be a very hectic month now with the 3 recruiting periods, and just trying to figure all of that out. It's different. We've done it by Zooms and we've done it by streaming, and now we're going to be back live, but we'll have a handful of kids in for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? You mentioned the name recognition for Coach Alexander and how beneficial that could be in the recruiting in the Midwest, but just keeping it in state, how much benefit is there to being able to talk to Geoff's dad if you need a phone number or a contact or something along those lines to help be like a middleman to get in contact with another kid for you or him or really just anyone in your program?
Well, I think our brand speaks for itself. I think, as coaches, we use every contact available. It just so happens his dad's the second winningest high school coach in the state, and who wouldn't want to take advantage? I mean, all we do is is talk as coaches. I mean, we spend most of our days on the phone communicating and talking and finding, hey, what about this kid? What about that kid? That's been amplified through COVID because we haven't been able to see kids and dig into backgrounds. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's the only source, but he's a guy that in this, his dad may see a kid play in a tournament and say, hey, this kid's a good player. That's how this business works. And that's sure a benefit to have a guy like that in your own family.
And then maybe a little bit of an off the wall question. I'm assuming that Quay and Neil are both kind of moving on after their graduate assistant roles. How do you go about filling those positions this off season? Have you started to look at those, or you've been more focused on this assistant coaching role? Because I'm sure that those are really important on your program as well.
Yeah, no, we're looking at the overall program. There's no doubt both of those young guys have got their master's degrees. They're both in the job market. They're both very different. Quay was on the floor, an active workout guy. Neil was a little more behind the scenes and the analytics piece. They've got opportunities, both those young guys, to move on and they're going to go in different directions. Neil's looking at a career in the NBA. Quay wants to be an assistant, needs to be on the road, learn the business from a recruiting standpoint. So they both got feelers out everywhere, and we'll go about trying to replace those guys and their specific needs. We always start internally, to be very honest with guys and see how the internal guys. We've had an incredible group of managers, and we'll see how all that fits.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Hey, Coach. With Chester and Geoff kind of combined, I feel like they're two guys that really just like bleed Illinois. What are you looking forward to about them working together and just kind of the strong ties that they have to the university and the state as well?
Well, I've already seen that connectivity. That's unbelievable. And the two things that they'll be relentless workers. They're both great communicators. I think that anytime you've got synergy and connectivity and a cohesive bond, those two have already generated that. And it's one of the things that I've been very diligent about and looking for in this process is not guys that just want a job at Illinois. I want guys who want to help us win at Illinois, and I want guys who want to be a part of what we're doing and building and not just the next stop along the way, or a dollar figure, a money grab. I got no interest in those guys. And obviously there's tremendous sweat equity with both of these guys. Chester as a player and Geoff as a staff member in helping build this program, and that is huge for me. And these guys are guys that are committed to the orange and blue. Both of these guys love this place. Both of these guys follow with a passion, not just our sport, but everybody else's, and their wins and losses and successes. And that's the family atmosphere that I'm looking for, and that connectivity is already there between those two.
And I can imagine that's what you're also looking for in your third assistant as well.
Yeah, I think that I think one of the great things about our last staff, and they were all different, and they all brought something different to the table, and they excelled at that. And I don't like, as much as I don't like pieces on the court, I like everybody to have a different niche and a different way. It's the same with our staff. And the common denominators are the things that I just talked about. I want them to be a part of wanting them to be here and helping Orange and Blue win and continuing to try to win a national championship here. And as I decipher those things, along with the fact I want him to give me a little something different than what Chester or something different than what Geoff gives us. And, to be totally transparent, I mean, we did the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator thing this year. There were certain things I liked about that. Trying to wrestle with that. So, there's a lot of factors. I'm going to be pretty diligent in my process and what I'm looking for, and do as much background as I can, and we'll find the right guy.
All right, thank you very much.
Brad, James Boyd here with the Herald and Review. Geoff talked at length about this being like his dream university, outside of being a head coach, this being his dream job. And after knowing him for so many years, said like 25 years. So how cool is it to help facilitate that elevation in his career?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I take a lot of pride in as a head coach is helping guys make their situation or their family situation better. It's no different than the players, and we talk about our players reaching their dreams and goals. It's no different than staff. And, Chent and Jen Gent this year both had interviews for head coaching jobs. You want guys to continue to grow and continue to learn. And I hope nobody has to take the journey I did and wait 26 years. I hope they're able to do that in a quicker way. And yet everybody's train runs at a different speed, and to know how much Geoff cares about this place, and going to camp here as a kid and working here as a counselor, man, that's pretty cool. And to know that we're a top 10 program, he's going to be a part of helping continue that and hopefully get us to a national championship. And that's the fun part of this for me.
He also mentioned that during quarantine, you all kind of went back and forth with like the weight loss journey thing. Curious your thoughts on that, and if there was a winner, who was it?
Oh, he's kicked my ass. I mean, Geoff's lost like 60 pounds. I mean, he's a machine. He runs like 8 to 10 miles every day. And I mean, I got him yesterday. I walked 10.8 and he only got his 8-mile run in, but I got a chance because I've got him hooked on ice cream late night right now. So, hopefully if I can keep that up, I got a chance to get back into this thing.
Thanks, Coach.
Brad, I had one quick follow-up off of that. Is you've obviously known Geoff for 20 years. You know how much this place means to him. What was that moment like for you to tell him that he was being elevated into this role? And can you share how you spread that news to him?
Yeah, we went to lunch, and it's one of those deals that I know I had a great idea. I knew what his reactions would be and how excited he would be. And that's fun to always be able to share good news. Sometimes all we hear is bad, and you've got to have hard conversations sometimes when you're in a leadership role. But man, there's nothing better than being able to tell somebody that, hey, I believe in you. You're the guy. Let's go get this done. And he was all smiles and congratulatory and well-deserved. Nobody deserves this opportunity more than Geoff Alexander. And the one thing I know about Geoff, he'll make the most of it.
Thank you, Brad.
Hey, Brad, Geoff said he wasn't sure which position group he would be coaching. Does it matter?
No, he's been with both. Geoff was that unique player. He was a point power forward. He was a great ball handler, great passer, crappy shooter, elite rebounder, and because he was so strong, he could match up with anybody. So we had to put him in positions where shooting didn't matter. And so he's coached both, Rob, and we'll figure all that out. He's done both. He was, at Evansville, he worked with the bigs. We'll see how it all plays out as we move forward. But again, he's flexible. He's capable of both.
Thanks.
Hey, Brad, as somebody else said, it's a little unprecedented to go through what you've done the last month in having to replace an entire staff. Basically, what's this been like for you?
You know, I in a time where you usually are trying to catch your breath, there hasn't been any of that. But again, I think it's, you know, I haven't taken it as a negative. I've taken it very much as a positive. You know, when you've got guys going to Kentucky and a guy going to Gonzaga and people like, damn, we had great people. And whether they, you know, and yet all the players stayed and they believe in what we're doing and they believe in where we're going. And now it's just like, for me, it's been like, okay, I'm going to miss them all. I love them all to death. They're all family. They're all part of what I'm damn proud of in terms of what we've built after 4 years. Now let's go do it again. And it is exhausting. You know, and the worst thing, Jeremy, is I've got hundreds of phone calls and text messages, and it's that I can't return. And then the other side of that is it's really screwed with my golf game because I can't take my damn, I have to take my damn phone to the course and you know, I probably have to get strokes from Lauren now because my golf game's so interrupted because of having to hire a coach.
I know you've got this close to the vest, but how do you feel about what you've had out there on the market, who you've interacted with about filling that last spot?
Great. Great. You know, it's, again, for me, it's not about, it's about filling it with the right guy. My goodness, the commitment Josh has made, the ability to know that we're a top 10 program. I mean, we're talking with right guys and that I know fit, and yet we've had calls from literally guys that would blow your mind in terms of people wanting this job, and people know where our brand is at, and that's been awesome. And now it's just a matter of, you know, we got to get the right guy in here, and like I said, I'm pretty diligent going through that process.
Thanks, Brad.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for your time today.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.